Hey! Hello, everyone. Hope you're all okay. Um, I wasn't going to go live today. And then I thought, oh, why not? I've got about half an hour, 45 minutes to kill. And when I say kill, I mean like I've got stuff on, but I just needed a bit of a breather from some stuff I was working on. Sometimes, you get like frustrated and pleasured with something you're working on. I just wanted a bit of a breather. And live chats usually can be a great breather because you get to talk with people, even though I'm the one talking. But yeah, so if anyone wants to jump on the live chat, let's talk about WordPress. Let's talk about web design. Um, and yesterday's live chat, I went on a bit of a rant about how I feel about certain aspects of accessibility. I'm going to try not to do that today because I feel like I've done that one to death now. And I really just want to be left alone without people continuously throwing stuff at me about it. But it's been a good few days actually. A couple of proposals went out and they look pretty good. One person in a part of the world contacted me and they gave me like this image, a PDF like screenshot of the breakdown of their website. Now I don't know the details, but it looked to me like it was close to 25 to 30 pages. And I gave him a rough price and I said, until I know exactly what is going on in each page, I have to treat the pages with a 80-20 rule. So what I mean is 20% will be very detailed pages. The other 80 will be what I call filler pages, or they could be copies of other pages. So let's say you're a company or a business and you are offering, and you do, let's pretend you do landscaping, right? And you have pages for like fencing, mowing the lawn, decking, pergolas, da 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 da. 9 times out of 10, the layout for those pages will be very, very similar. What will change will be the content in terms of the wording and the images. They may have more, they may have less, but it's kind of roughly the same structure. So you can make a template or a copy of a page and then swap out the details. So I call them like the filler add-on pages, right? Even though they are unique pages. And I always say that 20% of the website is where you really have to put a lot of the work in. So like your homepage, the first time you create the template for the filler pages, um, even contact pages can be what I call filler pages because not a huge amount of work has to go into them. You could probably knock it up in an hour or two kind of thing, right? Especially if it's just going to be like, a bit of text, social sharing icons, and then a form or something like that. So based on that, I will then go right. Based on the 25 or 30 pages, let's say 20% of them are going to be beefy, so you price them up, and then the filler pages, 80%, you price them up at a lesser price. Home pages, I always price up at £2,000 or $2,500 because a lot of effort has to go into that. And then you have all the other pages and filler pages. You can usually, I put a price of £360 per filler page, which is equivalent to about, I'm going to get this wrong now, 450, 475 dollars or something like that. So when you price that all up, obviously the price is coming in at quite high. And they were not happy with that. They literally were like, we're out of your league. And I did say to them, I totally understand that. I can work within your budget, but you won't get as much content or stuff done. You will find people that are much, much cheaper, but you must assess what you get out of it. And that's it. And I never chase. That's it. I don't chase. I don't try to convince them otherwise. I don't get upset. I treat every project like a dead project. If my sound and audio is out of sync, can you let me know? Or could you let me know if it is okay as well? Please do let me know. Hey Dave, question you got. Question on my pricing. What if you are just coding it and not designing it? If you're coding it, mate, it's way more. Way, 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 way more. Way more, right? To give you a breakdown, okay. give you a breakdown. If I am gonna build your homepage with Elementor, you're looking at about $2,500 just your homepage because it's obviously the WordPress, your settings, build a homepage, maybe header footer, right? So $2,500. If I am, hold on, I was going to say something. No, if I have to do a wireframe, then you're probably looking at $2,500 on top of that as well. So if you want a pixel perfect wireframe being done in Figma or something else, you're looking at another 2,500. Okay, because there's extra effort, and you're probably going to be going back and forth with the client more, so you got to factor in that time. So now the price goes up to 5,000. So I always make the offering to the client with, look, if you're happy with like a scribble, wireframe, layout, whatever, then I won't be charging you for that. We can get away with that. If, however, and by the way, the homepage, that's one day. So one day from me committed, and that's what I'm going to work on. No messing around. I won't be doing a live chat. I won't be recording videos. One day committed, $2,500 for me to build it if we're doing with Elemental. If, however, they want me to build a coded website, so I'm now coding it together, now we're entering a different realm a little bit, and now you could be looking at possibly 2 to 3 days. Well, now the cost has just doubled or tripled up. So if I think it's going to take 2 days, we now gone to $5,000. If I think it's going to take 3 days, we go to $7,500. So some people say don't price based on time, price based on the task. And I go, but your task is connected to your time as well, right? Because you could say, I will paint your room for $500. If the room is 2 meters by 2 meters, you could go, yeah, all right, 4 walls, might need 2 coatings, you know, yeah, okay, fine. It's actually quite expensive, that is, to say $500, but let's just pretend. If the room was 10 meters by 10 meters and it needs 2 coats, is the $500 ample enough now? Because now it might take 2 days. If the first one might have taken 7 hours, 5 hours. The other room, which is bigger, might now take 2 days or a bit more because you got windows and you got to go in and out and all of that and cut in. So I would say that pricing based on the task alone is a bit false. Because you could say, but I'm pricing on a 10 meter by 10 meter room to paint it. So I am basing it on the task. Yeah, but you're still taking into account time. You know, so whichever way you word it, psychologically, how much you want to fool yourself, time does play a factor into what you're going to cost it. So if I was asked to code a website or a web page, and I think it's going to take double the time, triple the time, and I have to be confident I can do it, okay? And I'll probably talk about this in today's topic. If I am worried about how I will do it, because some bits I'm not too sure if I can code it right, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to lead you on. I'm not going to pretend I can do it. I'm not then going to take it on and then waste time asking other people or ChatGPT or other stuff for help. I need to know I can do it. Hey, Pickstar! Just wanted to drop a quick hi to everyone before that. Don't worry, mate. There's not a lot of people here today, but great to have you here, mate. So that brings me on to something that obviously I will talk about today. In the Web Squadron group and the Elementor forum group and other places, people will jump on and they will say, how do I do XYZ? How do I do this? And one of my replies usually is this for you or a client? And then they will tell me it's for a client. And my next question will be, is this for a project that you've said you will do? And they then come back with, yes, it is. And I then go back with, so you've agreed to take on a project, but you don't know what to do. Now, people always say, but it's good to challenge yourself. It's good to stretch yourself. Yes, it is. To a point. Imagine you decide you want to build an extension and you hire a builder and they go, yeah, I can do that. And then you find out halfway they don't know how to fit windows and doors. and they're now going to try and get help from other people or guess it or watch a YouTube video, wouldn't you be pissed off? They told you they could do it, right? If, however, they have some experience, but you've got a particular type of window, and now they're going to have a think about how to get that to fit, that's different. But if I hire someone to do an extension, I want to know that if they say they can do it, they can do it, not bullshit me along the way and then try and work it out. Because I put my faith in them to do the extension, to do the work. The same goes with web design. Hey, Ontario Fisherman. The same goes with web design. If you have a potential client and they have a brief or a spec over what they want to achieve, and you say, I can do it, you better know how to do it. Or if they say, we want all of this stuff, but you notice there's one or two things that you don't know, you need to be open with the client from the start. I can do all of that, but this item here, where you want to do like a special type of form that talks to the user and does some funky stuff, I'll have to have a think about that. I can't guarantee I'll get that done. If I struggle with it, are you open to a compromise? Or are you pinning everything on this one thing? Because are you aware of anyone who has said they could do that? Because you have to take into account that clients want the world. Clients want an all singing, dancing website that converts the minute you land, that makes you want to buy something the minute you see a product. And life isn't always like that. So honesty matters. But I am seeing it more and more and more in the Web Squadron group, in the Elementor group, and other Facebook groups and other areas. People are turning up with a question. And when you probe, you will then find out that it's because they promised a client they could do something and they don't know how to do it. And they're then expecting us, you, me, other people, to solve it for them, to give them the code, to tell them step by step of what to do. Why would we do that? Why would we want to take on the burden? Because you know what? If we get it done and that person builds for the client, who gets paid? The builder, not us. So I always find that people that do that, they need to be a bit more honest about what you can do and what you can't do. And quite frankly, don't bullshit about. Don't pretend to win the job, because you will stress yourself out. When you realize you can't do it, you are going to be like panicking. Ontario says, has anyone experienced problems with the new Elementor update? I have not. What problem are you having at the moment? I have not, but that's on a dummy test website I have. I don't like to run updates until 1 week after latest updates, or sometimes a bit longer. Sometimes people rush to do an update. Oh, there's an update, I better do it. Unless I'm told that update was to fix a vulnerability, security aspect, then I always say wait, right? There was no features in the latest 3.30 that I would say were, this is exciting. We really, really need this. They're good updates, but they're not what I call showstoppers, right? So I would say, I mean, have you had a problem, Ontario? Hey, Phil, how you doing? So my big plea to a lot of web designers and developers out there that are trying to run business, win businesses or win business from businesses, is don't promise to deliver something if you don't know how to do it. Be open with the client, okay? Tell them what you can and cannot do. So for instance, I have clients who will sometimes say to me, we want you to build our website. Oh, and by the way, we've got this hosting. Oh, and by the way, we've got these email addresses. Oh, and by the way, we want you to advise on how to ensure all the emails go through, and also how we can access those emails on our iPhones, our Android phones, on our laptops, on our XYZ. And that's the point where I go, I don't want to get involved in that. You want me to build your website? Let's have a look at your website. You want me to sort out your email? Well, I was not part of that. And I could have a look at it, and here's there'll be a cost, but that's just for me to look at it. I cannot guarantee or promise. I can't make sure or ensure that your email, on your Outlook or your Google Mail or your Apple Mail or your particular phone, I am not going to guarantee that. There'll be a cost for me to look into it, right? That's up to you if you want me to do it or not. But whoever set it up for you, you need to go back to them. Or if you did it via your third party solution, like your hosting platform, you need to go and get the instructions off them, or go onto Reddit, or go onto ChatGPT. If you want me to go onto ChatGPT to try and find out, I can do that. But again, there's a cost attached. So don't go promising or agreeing to something unless you are 100% confident that you know what you're doing and you can deliver. Because you know what? When I left the corporate world and I came into freelancing and business and all of that, I want to enjoy what I'm doing. I don't want to feel stressed out or burdened or panicking, because that's how you are in the real world. And when I say real world, I mean that in the corporate world, right? You're having to deliver to satisfy your boss and their boss and their boss and the stakeholders and all of that. When it's you should be empowered to pick and choose, but you have to be sure that if you are going to go for something, you have to be 100% certain you can deliver. Just check some of the comments. Adrian says, I did, but only because the website I updated had a ton of plugins and some Elementor add-ons. So, yeah, I mean, Adrian makes a good point there. When you have Elementor add-ons, there's a good chance that the add-on might not be ready for the Elementor update. So, again, wait a week at least. Page speed shows error. If you roll back, those errors go away. What was the error, Ontario? What was the error? Please tell us a bit more about this error. Bill says we offer all those solutions as a bonus, and you're probably talking about the email. We take that friction away as clients just want to run their business. I agree with you. I mean, I would say, Phil, that if I was building it up from scratch, I would offer that as well. So, yep, okay, your domain, your hosting, your DNS, your propagation, your email, blah, 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 blah. What I don't like to get involved with, unless I'm familiar with who they're using, is legacy. And there's that story I talk about all the time where I had a client and their host was on SiteGround, their domain was with 123reg. No, their domain was Bluehost, and their email was BT Internet. And it took 3 hours issues to get that all sorted out. Adrian says, thick devs are not open with my client because they operate from a place of scarcity. If they don't get the contract, they will miss rent payments. Well, that is true, but you know what? They could miss out on the rent and payment again if they muck up, and their reputation could take a hit, and then they won't get any future work. Ontario says, hey, Harry, by the way. Ontario says, role error in nested elements. Role error in nested elements. Role error. And that's a new one. And that was caused by the Elementor update. I don't... I might have seen something about tabs. I think I read something somewhere about Elementor updates, something to do with tabs or accordion. I might be wrong. Harry says, yeah, there was something they fixed with tabs. It was something to do with... you might need to check the change log. Look at the change log for the latest update 3.30. There was something about the tabs. Harry says, I've been building and designing large-scale websites. Let me just move my window. Let me move my window. Where's my window? Is my mouse? There we go. Harris says he's been building and designing large-scale networks for most of my career, so I do help the websites, but on a retain. Yeah, and that's okay. I really do hate getting involved in domain hosting, email related issues. I just hate it. I like to create. I like to present. I like to I like to find ways of showing things. Anything to do with, and I'm not trying to dismiss, email domain and hosting and all of that as admin duties or IT support, but I don't like to get into that. I don't. I had enough of that when I worked in the NHS, right? Even when I was like head of department, I still had people coming over going, Imran, how do I do my password? Imran, how do I connect the printer? Um, Imran, how do I open a doc, a Word doc because it wants me to use Word docx, and how do I run a macro? And I'd be like, oh, God's sake, learn, sort it out, your problem. The worst thing was when someone would turn up and they got a new laptop, updated one, whatever, for work. And they're going, oh, Imran, I can't connect to the printer. What makes you think I know the exact IP address for that printer in another part of the building that I've never really ever had to go into? I might have walked through it once, but I don't even. What makes you think I'm going to know where to connect to? People always used to assume that Um, I remember the funny thing. I was in a meeting once, and it was a meet full of doctors. There must have been about because it was in Leicester City at the time. You see, no, Leicestershire. So there would have been. Let me get this number right. There would have been about 88, 85, 88 doctors, right? And you had the doctors, and they had a consultant from the main hospital, pediatrics, doing a presentation on a pediatric condition, something. And he came to the front and he had like a memory stick, right? And he plugged it into the computer, and the memory stick and the computer would not talk to one another. Obviously, because he had a presentation, PowerPoint, he wanted to put on the projector to project onto the screen. And he got all of these GPs, right? And it was a small room. It wasn't even a big room. So loads of GPs are sat there crowded together. It felt really hot and stuffy in that room. Okay. There was no fans and it was quite hot at that time. And even with the windows open, it's still stuffy. And the people that organized that event did not know what to do. So you know what they did? They called me. I was a fellow presenter. There were 4 people presenting that day, and I was there to talk to the GPs about practice-based commissioning in the NHS. They called me up, and I remember there were quite a few GPs looking, what have they called him up for? He's like head of department for business intelligence. They called me up. I went up. Now, this consultant did not know me. The consultant looked at me. He turned his back to the audience. So if you imagine the audience are here, he turned his back to them, looked at me and was like, you better fucking sort this out, right? Because, I don't want to get messed up here. You better know what to do here. And I looked at him in a weird way, like thinking, who do you think I am? Because he did not know who I was. I hadn't been called up or presented yet. So he probably looked at me, and I'll tell you when this was. This was in 2014. So 11 years ago, right? And I thought, you're looking at me, and what you're seeing is an Asian lad. I'm only 5'7", quite short. Asian lad, glasses. I look young, right? I'm dressed in a suit, whatever, but I look young. And you're probably thinking I'm IT support, aren't you? You're probably thinking that I'm here to do the connections for Wi-Fi. And I just looked at him and I was like, I took his memory stick, I plugged it in and went, sorry, I don't know what to do. And I walked off. And his face was fuming. He had this look on his face like, how dare you walk off? How dare you leave me like this? And I sat down. I let him do what he did, and he couldn't, he obviously had to talk, because I thought, I can't really work it for him. His memory stick had been formatted incorrectly. That's not my fault. I don't really care, right? I'm not going to reformat your memory stick, because then you will lose everything on there, okay? Then I got called up. And when I got called up, his face dropped, because he was sat near the front. And he turned around when I got called up, and his face was like, because he suddenly realized that he had made an assumption that I'm just IT support. And that's one of the reasons why I just hate working on stuff like that. I'd prefer to create. I'm in my element then, you see, but that's just the way I am. Anyway, back to some of the comments that are coming on. Surely the NHS should be using group policies saying that is the NHS. I don't know. Ontario Fisherman. It appears the latest Elementor update may be introducing an issue with how the loop grid renders ARIA roles. Yeah, yes, I do recall seeing that. I think the best thing you're gonna have to do is have you asked a question in the Elementor in the Facebook global Elementor group? Go and ask the question there. You might get a better answer. I don't know. I'm clutching at straws here because I'm not exactly familiar with this problem. So I would say go and ask over there. But yeah, going back to the point I was making right at the start. Oh, hold on. I've got a doorbell. I'll be back in a moment, okay? The joys from working from home, right? I mean, it's just like a like home improvement kind of crap. I don't really care about this at all. When you have a doorbell, I mean, I could have checked on my ring. I just kind of shot up and went over to look at it, but that was a bit pointless, right? I hate it when I get disturbed. And I'm waiting for a delivery of something, and I had a parcel arrive earlier, and I'm a little bit worried that it's meant to be two parcels. So where is the other parcel? Because I can't build what I need to build unless I have the other parcel. Anyway, um, right. So Harry says the only thing I don't like is I can't seem to find a way around its creation of different accounts for the client relation with the website. By the way, yeah, I mean, this is where I prefer clients to buy their own. And if you want to manage the entire service for them in terms of domain, email, hosting, all of that, that's okay. I just don't like to buy things for them or even on behalf of them. I prefer them to go out and get what they want to get. I'll advise them on what to get. I'll send them a link. I'll even make clear to them, this is a non-affiliate link or anything like that. So I don't want you to think that I'm getting you to buy something. And that's the other thing I really do. I have affiliate links for SiteGround or whatever, Elementor, but I always say to them, look, this is a non-affiliate link, so I don't want you to go and think that I'm only pushing you towards this. But I will say, this is what, so if you're going to get a domain from 123reg, this is what you need to get. They're going to say, get this and this. You don't need to go for those, so don't do that. Get this. If they're going to go for hosting, I'll tell them what to get. Mainly because I want them to own it. So if I drop dead, they're not left in the lurch. But also, I don't want to take responsibility for stuff as well like that. But that's just me. That's just me. And I don't think it's wrong for you to take on that responsibility if you do want to do that. Bill says, would strongly recommend using a transactional email service for websites where you send a yes. I think there's loads of good services out there. Um, I'm just one of those people where I just don't want to get bogged down with the tech stuff behind the scenes. I am planning a video though. I just need to sort out how I'm going to approach it, but I am planning out A to Z video on Elementor hosting, the whole domain, the whole email, because One of the things that I still feel that Elementor should have done with the Elementor hosting is you still have to go to a third party to get your email. And there's nothing wrong with that because the domain you have to do via, is it, who's it with? Is it Namecheap? When you do Elementor hosting, you have to get your domain. You can do it via them, but it's through a third party. I feel like they should have done that with the email as well. So even if it's a third party, that doesn't matter, but you need to bring it all together. I'm not talking about the STMP or anything like that. I'm talking about the actual email provision, the provider for the email. Because there'll be people that say, oh, I'll go for this hosting. And this has happened with other host providers as well. You go and get it, and then they go, but there's no email. Now, a lot of people will say, get your domain, your host, and your email from separate places. I'm not going to get into the rights and wrongs of that, but I always feel that it needs to be made more crystal clear over what you get and what you're signing up for. Because I just feel like it's too easy to get people to sign up for something and then, oh, I'll tell you the best one is, there's loads of like AI services and a lot of them will say try for free. You try to sign up, but then you got to give your credit card before you've even signed up. So you kind of go, no, I'm not going to do that. Or you sign up and no, here's a great example, right? It might be an AI tool and it says you can do all of this stuff, right? And try it for free. So you sign up, doesn't ask you for a credit card, and you try and use it to generate a video or an image or some work stream or something. And it allows you to upload, it allows you to select something, and that's it. If you now want to actually like try out the product, that you have to go pro for. So what they've done is they've made you sign up. They've got your email, so now you're part of their marketing, newsletters and everything. And all they've given you is what you could have done in, say, Canva or ChatGPT. Upload and select one option. Well, you can do that anyway. That's not what you signed up for. You signed up to test out the process or the flow. Is it easy? Does it make sense? Does it actually do what they said on their sponsored advert or their homepage? Does it actually tick the box? Because there's so many times, right, you'll see like an advert and it goes, you can turn this image into a video and do this and do this and do this and create 20 copies and create an Instagram copy and a TikTok copy. And you can do all of this stuff. Try it out. Try it out for free for 7 days, for 1 day. Try it out. Then you go on, you sign up, and you can't do any more than upload and do a tiny little thing, which you're like, that's not what I wanted to test. And that really, really annoys me. And I know why they don't give you everything, because there's videos everywhere where people say, if you want to try this out, okay, and you want to use it for free, but you don't want to pay, go to this link and go and create 50 Gmail accounts and then try it out. And then when you run out of credits, use this email. And when you run out of credits, use this one. And you will be able to generate 50 videos and you can stitch them all together and you got a goddamn movie. I get that. But if you're telling me that I can try it out, what am I trying out? Because they don't always make that clear, do they? When they say on AI tools, not even just AI, it could be video editing, it could be coding, it could be loads of stuff. They go try out, but they don't kind of say in the tryout you won't be able to do all of the juicy stuff until you go pro. And I don't like that. I really don't like that, because how do I know that when I sign up for pro, and a lot of them do offer refunds, don't get me wrong, but this always gets on my nerves, right? This always gets on my nerves. Tell me what you think about this, right? you sign up and they take your money like that, right? You sign up, boom, the money's gone, right? If you then within half an hour go, "Ooh, this is not what I thought I was getting," and then you go to cancel, some of them you have to contact an email and you have to wait for them to get back. Some of them allow you to cancel, but then you're told it could take 14 days or it could take 30 days before you get the refund. And the reason they delay it, they always say, "Oh, it's because of the amount of time it takes to send the money to your card and all of that." Load of bullshit. A lot of them just want to keep hold of your money for a little bit longer because the time that money sits in their bank account or wherever the money's gone to, they're probably going to earn a little bit of interest on that. And then when they do pay you back, all right, they've still made something out of it. So it's not been a complete loss for them in a way. But I do hate that. Do any of you experience that? Do you ever find that when you're signing up for like, it could be a plugin. There's quite a few plugins out there as well. You know, they go, I mean, plugins, okay, not fair. Plugins, a lot of plugins do make it clear. They try to spell out the differences between, I'll give you a great example, right? So there's this plugin and they contacted me. Do I give the name? No, I'm not going to give you the name. And they wanted me to do a video. And I said, only if you tell me there's a free version. And there was a free version. So I had a look at the free version and I said to them, I'm just going to have a quick 5-minute look at the free version. If I like it, we can maybe bang out a deal or whatever. And I'll do a video review of it or something. And I looked at the plugin and the free version basically, hey Eddie and hey Chima, the free version of this plugin basically gave you stuff that you could do with Elementor Pro. So that might give you a clue as to what this plugin is or not. So all it did was give you the same kind of widgets that you already got with Elementor Pro. Nothing new, nothing fantastical. And I mean it, there weren't any new features, the same thing. The extra juicy stuff that you can't do with Elementor Pro, you had to go premium for. So I went back to them and said, I don't like to promote premium plugins unless there's a free version. I like my users to experience a free version, know what they're getting, feel the goodness, and then if they really, really like that plugin, then they will upgrade because they now want to take it to another level. But this plugin only is good for people who use Elementor free and they want to get all the pro stuff. And they were like, that's our target market, they were saying. And I said, I'm really sorry, but a lot of my users will be Elementor Pro users. I'm looking at people who are already on board and they want to take that a step further. I can't do a video where I'm telling my viewers, hey, look, there's this plugin. It's not brand new. There's this plugin and it's got loads of pro stuff. But let's not focus on the pro stuff. Let's look at what you get for free. Because you can get this for free. You can get it for free today, tomorrow, now. You can get it for free. And this is going to give you an accordion, which you already get in pro. This is going to give you Elemental Form that you already get in pro, or the Hello Biz, where you get a version of the pro. This is going to give you animated headline, which you already get in pro. So it makes no sense to me to do a video showcasing a plugin that's going to give you pro stuff, because that's not how I like to target things. That's not the target audience. I don't mean to be funny here, right? Okay. And some of you here aren't going to like what I say next, okay? And I don't mean to be judgmental or put you down or yeah, I don't mean to be judgmental here, but if you are an Elementor user and you are using Elementor free and you will not get Elementor Pro, or your clients won't get Elementor Pro or whatever, or you haven't got loads of 1,000 licenses, and you are going to use Elementor free and loads of add-ons, that says to me, and that all of the add-ons are free, that says to me that you are you've embraced the free market, and that's okay, but you're not gonna put your hand in your pocket to invest in Elementor Pro or something else. And if you're not gonna do that, then the chances of you buying one of my courses is slim, right? Even if you have Elementor Pro, that does not guarantee that you're going to get the CSS course or the how to build a website course or the $1, $2 guides, right? Nothing much, Jack. You're not really missed much. But if you're using Elementor free and loads of add-ons and you're not going to invest in Elementor Pro, stuff like that, and you always look for the free solution, and again, there's nothing wrong with that, but with Elementor, then the chances of you investing in any of my products or courses is really slim. So you are not a target audience. Now, I don't just create videos because I want you to buy a course. If you do, that's great. It's a form of income to help me and the channel. But if does that make sense what I'm trying to get to though? So if you don't invest in stuff, you're the wrong audience, right? So why would I want to promote a plugin that is geared towards people who just want to use the free stuff? I mean, this company are hoping you upgrade to get the extra juicy stuff, but I did say to them, I'm a little bit disappointed because if you had given some of the juicy stuff in your free version, I would have been behind it because you could have. You could have said, you get all of this stuff in the free version, but if you now want extra settings and you don't want to mess around with code to take this further, right? Then I would have been interested, but it just makes no sense. Jack says, do you know what I would invest in? A patron of yours. Hey, Dreams. Yeah, well, you can donate. You know, people can donate to help support the channel. And I have announced this about a month ago, and I need to do a video because I feel like I really need to get this out there. But come the 1st of July, live chats will only be available to members of the YouTube channel. And when I say members, I don't mean subscribers. I mean members that have signed up. And when I do a future Elemental course, that will only be available to members as well. I know, Jack, 3rd of July already. Independence Day tomorrow, but it's 1st of September. Did I say 1st of July? I meant to say 1st of September. So Eddie's question, and by the way, Harry, yeah, please do go and get the course. Eddie says, what do you think about version 4 class-based workflow? Do you think this is the future to use class for background border shapes rather than one CSS class for all the settings? This is a funny one, Eddie, okay? I am torn between this, right? I don't mind using the class system to define your texts, your colors, your styling. I don't mind that. But I also prefer just to have a bit of code for all of my font clamp typography. Do you know what I mean? Because I can dump that in and I can see it all in one place. Because let's say you go and create a class for extra large, large, extra medium, medium, small, blah, 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 extra small, extra, extra small. You have to click into each of them to see them. Do you know what I mean, Eddie? But if like I go to like my custom CSS, whether it's in the site settings or elsewhere, or the theme, I can see them all. So I can see that the extra large is 4 REM and the large is 3 REM and the medium is 2.5 REM. I can see all of that. And it's really quick for me just to change it. At the moment with the version 4, we don't have that. And that does bother me because I feel like, why can't we have both? Why can't we have both? Um, so I'm torn on it. As long as we can still add code to the site settings, which we can, I don't see a problem. But then I have this other problem, right, Eddie, in that you don't have the custom CSS for the widgets. So if you look at the new, I don't know, button widget for version 4, where's the custom CSS? Because maybe I want to drop in a bit of code, Eddie. You know how all these videos I've done where I've said, okay, for your tab, you drop in this bit of code and it will now allow your tab title to do XYZ, right? You add in a custom code CSS and it does something different. If the custom CSS is not there, it just overcomplicates how I do things now. And I don't like that because now I'll have to right click, inspect, make sure I get the right ID or class name, then go and make sure my code does that, then drop it into site settings or the theme customizer. And if I now want to see what code I added, I have to now go there to see it. And what if it was code for just one widget? If you use font clamp and you add it into site settings, that's okay because it's not specific to just one page. It's site wide. So I don't mind going into site settings. But if like I had a 20-page website and one page had a tab widget, therefore I'm going to add the custom CSS for that tab widget. I'm only going to add it on that page inside that widget, right? But then I got to go to site settings. And it's like click upon a click within a click around a click. We're clicking all over the place here. So I feel like we need to have both. We were asking about a bricks similar class system for ever since bricks came along. And then 2.5 years in, when it was first announced we might get something, we were asking, and now we're getting something. So that's good. But we didn't ask for it to be an either or an or. It was an and. So at the moment with my version 3, I have the CSS ID, I have the CSS class. You remove that to go forever. It just I'm torn. I really am torn. Eddie says I use font clamp in site settings for H tag. Yeah, exactly, right. Because again, there is no right or wrong answer because I think that if you want to use Jeffrey did a really good video on this lightbox. And he's right. What he did was absolutely right. So you could create it, you could have your large, your medium. You could do that. I would prefer to use those classes, though, the global classes, for styling, but not necessarily the font clamp, because I would prefer that to be in my site settings because I can see it all. You know, and if I need to replicate it, I can copy, paste it, and tinker with it. I know what I've got to play with. You know, so I think that, you know, if you want to add a class for background color or padding or just something. And then here's the other thing also, right? How many of you use @media CSS coding? So you got a bit of code, but then when you get to mobile, you're going to do something different. Could be a hide or show. Do you know what I mean? Like I hover on a column or a container and then an image appears or the text does something different. Really easy in custom CSS. Where do I do that now? If version 4 became the norm, I'll have to go to site settings. But it was only ever intended for this widget, this button. Not every other button, just this button. And it's on a particular page. So I know when I go to that page, I can change the code. Client doesn't like it. I don't like it. I don't want to go to the button, then go to site settings. So I feel like we have to have balance somewhere with how we do this. Jeffrey is right. It is potentially the future. I just feel like it needs to be and. We need to have and. You know, we got so used to having it a certain way with the custom CSS and the ID field and all of that. I don't mind the global class system, but please give me both. Let me make that choice between both of them, kind of thing. Jack says, does this make Elementor less user friendly? I think you are going to make it difficult for some people, right? Let me explain. So, this remote control is white. I want to make it yellow. There is no setting to make this yellow. So I drop in custom CSS to make it yellow. Do you get where I'm going with this? That's where the custom CSS would come in. There's no setting. If you go to a global class system, how do you make it yellow? Because you can't do the custom CSS. So what you'll do is you'll give it a class name. Then you'll go to site settings, refer to that class name, and then drop your code in. But on my website, there's 1,000 buttons, but only this button was meant to be yellow. And that's why I feel like, are we, because for us, I'm annoyed I have to go to site settings, but if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. But someone else who's not familiar with that, I mean, how many Elementor users do you know use the CSS part of site settings? Do you know what I mean? I mean, when I did the Elementor course and I started to tell people, dump your clamp there, a lot of people would come back to me going, oh, I've never done that. I go to the theme customizer or I do it in the widget. And I was like, no, I know. That's right. But I want you to now try this approach because it keeps it all in one place. Bill says, what's everyone's thoughts on the Cloudflare AI bot blocking? I think it's a great idea. It's paving the way forward to pay. Yeah, I potentially, I can see pros and cons to that. Because if everyone does not pay, then the amount of intelligence could get diluted. But on the flip side, why should companies have free reign to scrape, right? And if an AI company did scrape, let us say AI scraped SiteGround and they paid SiteGround, let's pretend $10,000. Shouldn't SiteGround then pass on some of that to the web developer or designer or the business behind the website? Because it's very easy to say the AI company pays them, but SiteGround never created that website. Technically, I know you could argue about, well, do they own it or not own it because it is on their platform, but shouldn't the creator get something out of it as well? What do you think about that? Because I think they should. Because you're the one that put in the hard work. Yep, Jack. I do agree with you, Jack. This could make things quite complicated. Now, Eddie. Eddie. La, 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 la. So, Eddie, when we're being told that custom CSS won't disappear, right? The question I would go back with is, so where is it for the version 4 components? Do you get what I mean, Eddie? So yes, we've got the custom CSS for the version 3 heading, but it's not there for the version 4 heading. It's not there for some of the other version 4 components. So yes, I'm one of those people, right? Okay, and this is my law degree kicking in, right? If someone says something to me, I cross-examine it to the nth degree, right? So when people criticize me about accessibility and all that bullshit, I normally go back with, okay, so what would you do? They can't answer usually. So if we, if it's there for some elements, but what about the other ones? Yeah, Eddie, go and have a look. Go and have a look at version 4, right? You don't have the custom CSS there. Or maybe it is, and maybe I've not been. No, it's not. No, it's. Hold on now. And now I'm feeling like, have they brought it in? Because I'm pretty sure when I was checking the other die, it weren't by. Ugh. Sorry, I've gone and done some more. Let me just quickly double check. Huh? This website does not exist. What? It's my dummy website. Oh, sorry, typo. I did a typo. Right, okay, let's just go over to one of my hello. Right. Let's just go. This is my dummy website, right? Who cares? This is just dummy website. Okay. Dummy website. Okay. So right. Look, take an example. Okay. Let's take this heading widget and let's just drop it in over here, right? So look, you have got the ID, so that's new. Sorry, I should have corrected myself. The CSS ID is there now, right? And you can, this is, if you want to have a link, whatever. But look, if you go, let me just double check. If you go to style, you got your classes, but you don't have custom CSS. There's no custom CSS there. So that's the point I'm getting to where I'm like, where is it? Oh no, I just did something. Can you guys all still see me? I just nearly did something really stupidly wrong there. So Phil says a blogger will get some. Okay, Phil. Good. Sorry, I wasn't sure, Phil. I mean, I haven't gone too in depth into that. So if the blogger or the website will get some compensation as well, then it kind of makes sense. Just like artists or photographers, where their hard work is being used as the foundation for AI tools, right? Jack says, my business degree says do a version 4 without the class system and a version 4 without. What? Wow. That could complicate things even more. I just think that you need to have the custom CSS in there. Hey, Dennis, how are you doing? Good to see you, my friend. Right? Eddie, version version 4 is just those extra bits, those extra components, right? So let me go back again and I will show you over here, right? So, right? So everything is the same, Eddie. Everything is the same. You still got your site settings, all of that. It's all still there, right? You're not losing anything. Your custom CSS, it's all still there. You go to your normal headings, it's still all there. But when you go to why is this not clicking? What have I done? I think I've clicked on something wrong. Where is it? There you go. When you go to the version 4 atomic component heading, that's where you are missing. I need to just shrink these all down because then it starts to look very messy. You're missing the custom CSS there in those components, right? So let me just shrink it down. Shrink. God damn it, shrink them all. They're the only version 4 ones we have at the moment. And we're missing the custom CSS there. So you could still do it, but it's going to be a bit of a faff, I think, because let me just stop this screen from showing. It's going to be a bit of a faff because you then have to give it a class name, then go to site settings, and I would prefer for it to be in one place like how we currently do it. Do you know what I mean? Dennis says he's very busy. Yeah, it's been a really hectic morning. I have to be honest, it's really, really hectic this morning. I've got a lot on this afternoon. I mean, a lot of people don't know what's going on in my life outside of work. I've got a lot of stuff going on. Like we've got I don't know what I should say really to this. How much I should say. So I have to be careful. I've got support workers and people coming because Raheem, my son's going through a really tough time. His ADHD is really affecting him at school. The way people treat him. There's a lot of people at school that take the mick out of him because he's adopted. You know, they say to him, you know, your mum and dad abandoned you, left you. It's nothing like that. They don't know anything about his history at all. They don't know where he's from or what his parents were like or anything or what the reasons were. But they say things. Some say you're not adopted, you're lying, you make it up. Some say, you know, you were adopted, you were abandoned because you're useless and you're crap and all of this. He gets bullied quite a bit. He's going through a tough time. His ADHD is really his. I get really annoyed when some people like make out that ADHD is fake. He is really massively affected. Okay, really, really big time. Okay, there's a lot of triggers going on, behavior at school, behavior at home. So in between everything I do, you know, in between everything I do, there's a lot going on with social services, with doctors, with GBs, CAMS, medication, mental health teams. You would not believe how many meetings I have to have a week talking to people, back and forth, emails, all of this, you know, latest stuff I've now got today. I've got to go through, read all of this stuff. I've got someone coming over now in 2.5 hours time, 4 p.m. UK. So I've got to make sure I'm up to this. Just came today and I've got to read up all of that. So there's a lot going on. It's not easy. It's not easy. So that is why when people attack me and what I do with videos, or the way I talked about accessibility, or the way I approach Elementor, or the way I build, or the code snippet, or the CSS code, it gets to me because, like, my life feels non-stop from 5 a.m. until very late at night. It's like constant. Some of my neighbors don't understand why, when they do see me out and about, I don't stop to talk a lot. And you know why? Because I I'm literally like going, right, I've got to do this and I've got to do this, got to do this. I had to return a parcel to Amazon. So this morning I recorded a couple of videos. Then I have to go and drop the parcel off. Then I have to go and buy something. Then I have to sort something else out. Then I need to get back because I need to sort some work out for a client. And And some people, they don't understand. I don't have time. Like, for instance, on Sunday, the front garden, there's a lot of weeds, right? There's lots of gravel and there's loads of weeds. So I, every 2 months, have to go out with the Roundup weed killer spray, and I'm spray. And I'm out there doing it. Neighbor comes out and wants to stop and chat. And I'm kind of like, I'm not really chatting. I'm talking a bit, but I'm kind of doing my work. And you can see they don't fully understand that I don't have the luxury of stopping to talk to you and stop. Because if I stop and talk to you for the next 20 minutes, I've just added on 20 minutes as to what I wanted to get done. Because I want to get this done so I can move on to something else. Because I need to make sure I've sorted out my son's lunch because my wife is at work on Sundays. So I'm now trying to manage emails, notifications, people calling me up, my mum calling me up to tell me something that I don't care about. Someone's gonna had a baby. I need to make sure I let them know they're okay. And there's like, and then I'm having to deal with my son having an explosion in his head because something has triggered him. And then I've got to calm him down and manage him. And when his episodes happen, whatever I had planned can go out the window. Because believe me, I could lose 3 to 4 hours trying to help him. And then I've got backlog, this, that. And my life is not perfect by any means whatsoever. And then I've got to look after my health. I had a heart attack 5 years ago. Every other day, I feel not good. And I have to stop. So when I have people attacking me because of, oh, this button's not good for a screen reader, that's when it really cuts deep. Because it's like, is that really the biggest problem we have in the world right now? Is that really like what everyone's jumping up and down about? And that's what gets me. Right, back onto some of the things I'm saying here. By the way, I think that's a really interesting question that Phil raised, and Jack, your comments as well. Dennis says his son is at special school. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it's you got to do what you got to do, right, Dennis? Right? You have to do the best you can for them and yourself and as a family, you know? And I'm not going to lie, sometimes there are days where my son and I argue a lot. My wife and I argue a lot. You know, you should have done this, you should have done that. Why is this not done? What about this? You know, and sometimes the atmosphere, it's not great. You know, you stop working, you just want to sit and eat together. Sometimes we can't even eat together because something's just not right. And a lot of people what look at me, they don't really know me and they go, "Oh, Imran's all right. Oh, he's got it easy. Oh, yeah, he's a YouTube influencer. Yeah, I bet he's rolling in money. Yeah, everything's perfect." They have no idea. None. So when I have a rant or I lay it out as to why I'm not happy about something, it's because on top of everything else, the moment someone hurts me, harms my brand, harms my reputation without any real justification, because I mean, look, if you think about stuff I could do, like hurt people, harm people, hurt someone, destroy a business. If you think about all of the really major things, scam you, I could scam you, couldn't I? I could make you buy a course which does nothing to help you. I could take your money and go, ha ha ha, and buy a Lamborghini. I could do, you know, when you look at all of the evil, nasty things I could do, the ARIA label of my button wasn't right for you. Is that really the biggest problem in the world? That's where I get quite passionate about stuff like this, right? That's why I get really passionate. Peter says, maybe you'll create a short video about sticky header and duplicate CSS ID. So your sticky header and duplicate CSS ID. I'll have to have a think about that one. The web accessibility gang, they are obsessed. Yeah, that's the thing, Eddie, right? That's the thing I have with it. I don't think people understand that we are people. We are people. We have emotions. We have problems. We don't often tell you about all of the other things that are going on in our life. My mum, I don't get on with my mum and dad. Probably said that a lot. And I think they know that. We have a long history of not getting on. Probably from the age of 7. So for 40 years of my life, I'm now 40, I'm going to be 47 in September. We don't get on. But my mum has got really major extreme Parkinson's disease. And I don't like to see her going through what she's going through. So I have problems on that side as well. And I know it's my mum's problem and not mine, but it's not nice. So when people attack us because, why did you create a code snippet? You could have used this plugin. I did a code snippet last week about drag and drop ordering for your posts and stuff. Why do people just not appreciate what we do? If you don't like it, fine, but you don't have to make a big thing out of it. You go in a shop and you don't like the clothes. Do you go in there and go, "Oh, your clothes are shit"? No, you just walk out and go somewhere else. And do you know something? There was one thing in my head today, and I did think about, I went on and on about accessibility, and I said, don't, just let it go now, right? Look, people are going to hate you no matter what. But I'm going to make a point, okay? The accessibility people are not happy because they want you to pay to make your website more accessible. They don't want to tell you exactly how to fix it. They want you to pay. And the kind of people they are is basically this. You have a shop. It's got 2 entrances. One entrance has a step. It's free to take the step. But the other entrance with the ramp, you have to pay to use it. They're not going to let you use that ramp. Because if accessibility is so important for the world, okay, you have to legally do it, don't charge people to help make your website accessible. Show people how to make it accessible, because that is how you will drive real change. Because all of these experts, right, they want you to pay to use the ramp. If, like, you want them to help you build it, so here's my website, and I now want you to make my website accessible, so you have to now build the stuff in. They have every right to charge for it, because now they have to build it for you. But they could quite easily do a video and say, here is an Elementor website, right? This is how you make it accessible. Not, here's a website, I'll run it through my tool. Oh my God, there's so much red flags. Oh! Now you have to pay to make it accessible. No, if you cared about accessibility, about everything you say, you would show people how to do it, not charge to use the wheelchair ramp. Because that's how I see it. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. Oh, by the way, hey, Wiki Design. Sorry, do you know what? Sometimes I talk and I can see the comment and I don't register the comment, but good to see you here. Absolutely, Harry. It's become, do you know what? Right, okay. It's become a moneymaker for people. And to use disability or impairment to make money is wrong. If I was an accessibility expert, that's a soundbite you'll never hear. But if I was an accessibility expert and let's say Dennis hired me or Eddie to make their website fully accessible, and they're paying me to, they want me to do it, I would charge for it because I'm doing the work. I'm doing the work on their website. I don't know what I'm going to find. I'm doing the work. But if I don't want to pay for it, sorry, I've got my analogy wrong now here, what I'm trying to say. But if I went and did a video, because I care about accessibility, right? I care about it. Now I've done the video, Eddie can go and watch it and try and implement it in his own time. And if he still can't get it right, he can come to me. Dennis can go and make his website accessible. And if he still struggles, he can come to me and pay me to do it. But I would start off with trust. I would start off with making you know that you can do it. What I wouldn't do is say, here's a plugin tool that's gonna highlight what's wrong. Like look at all of the free web accessibility tools. You know, the ones like Wave and all of that, AIM and all of that. What they'll do is they'll say your ARIA label's not right, your social sharing icon ain't right, your internal link ain't right, your color ain't right, and blah 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 blah. When you then click to learn more, it takes you to a page that says under WCAG 2.1 AA, your color contrast for your AA font size 18 must be 4.5.4.5 point ratio to the X to the D to the D to the 1. It'll tell you that. If the tool is so good at identifying the problem, why don't you tell me how to fix it? And you know why they won't tell you how to fix it? Because they want you to pay. Just like the ramp. You got a wheelchair, right? I go to the shop, 2 entrances. I can't go up the steps. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't go up the steps. I can't help you. You can't go up the steps. You're in a wheelchair. But you could use the ramp, but I'm going to have to charge you to use the ramp. Argue against that one. Try and argue against that one. Okay, next time you get these accessibility experts going on and on and on about it, say to them, well, why don't you create a header template that ticks the boxes? Now do a hero banner that ticks the boxes. And they won't, because they'll blame the page builder. Or they'll say, well, we've got this tool, we've got this plugin, we've got this theme. No, I have an existing website. I don't want to use your theme. I don't want to use something extra. I've got an existing website, and Wave or AIM or whatever you want to call them, right? I always get my names wrong, is saying I am 50% compliant. So what do I do? Don't worry, I don't, what do I do? They won't show you that because I think they either don't know or, they'll be like those people who go, hey, we can make your website 100% page speed, right? We can make your website fly. And then they'll install a plugin and it's 95. Well, we wanted to get to 100, but the way you built your website, your legacy plugins and your tables are unoptimized. And unless we build your website from scratch, we're not going to hit 100. And then you say, okay, we'll make my website 100% from scratch. Oh, well, full of excuses. Anyway. Thank you, Eddie. Do you know what? The Pix Refiner tool, right, is really good, isn't it? I use it all the time too. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading some of the comments. Right, Eddie, the reason why ChatGPT might have an issue with converting it to WebP or something, it might be just the format of what ChatGPT do. So my recommendation is you take the image that ChatGPT gives you and you stick it into Canva, and then you download it as a PNG and then stick it into your website, because the format you're going to get out of ChatGPT might not be right. Also, sometimes it uses a compressed JPEG anyway. So what you get is you get a compressed JPEG, and when you push it through WebP, because of the whatever format or logic has been used in it, it might not work properly. So watch out for that. That's my recommendation, okay? Any image that I get from ChatGPT where I have used it, I would stick it into Canva. Plug it through there and you'll be all right. Dennis says, as a developer or designer, it's good to know what basic things you need to make it. I am totally with you on that. I am totally with you on that. But I just feel like there's too much noise, right? There's just too much noise and not enough solution. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. It's easy to write a rant. Show it. Show, don't tell. Creative writers will know what I'm talking about here. Dennis has Photoshop. I haven't used Photoshop in a while. I really haven't. I was massive Photoshop user. And that's the thing though, Dennis, right? So in my Elementor course, or the latest one I did in September 2024, I build the website to make sure that your website is as accessible and performing well as much as it can do. If I've gone overboard with the ARIA labels, is it the end of the world? The answer is no. I've gone overboard with it, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. So there is no perfect checklist, because even I don't have a perfect checklist to refer to. That's one of the reasons why I fell out of love with Photoshop. I got sick of the Creative Cloud. Dennis's boss is paying for it. I mean, of course, when you're a business, you can put it on as an expense. The thing about expenses, though, is that it's always a weird one, right? In that, even though you have it as a business expense, you're still kind of paying for it in some way, one way or the other, kind of thing, which is annoying, to say the least. Right. I've been live for... How long have I been live? 1 hour 20. and I need to do some stuff, and I also, what time is it? Yeah, it is 1:48. I need to do some stuff, and I also need to just get ready. I've got to read all this and understand it. I've got to read all this before the support worker thing comes over, and then that's going to be an hour and a bit of my time wrecked and gone, and then I have to jump back on to do anything else. Yeah, I do need to read those papers. Right, okay, everyone, look, I hope you don't mind when I sort of go overboard and have a rant, but I'm just kind of letting you know real feelings, real emotions. And I think a lot of you can relate to what I say. I'm not faking it. I'm not sucking up or kissing ass. I'm not pretending to not be either affected or even pretending to be, whatever. I'm just keeping it real. But I just wish that those people out there that always are jumping to attack people like me and others, other content creators as well, I just wish they would take a look in the mirror and go, well, what can I do instead? And my answer is always the same. If you think we are messing up, go and show us what to do. Don't tell us, show us what to do. All right, everyone, I'm going to say thank you to you all. Thanks for your kind words. Don't forget to sorry, Eddie, you says so your subs based YT laugh show. Did you already EK? No, I haven't kind of done the members only one yet. I haven't started that yet. I'll be starting that from 1st of September, hopefully. But thank you for all your comments. Thanks for joining in. Jack says, quick one before you go. Are you going to get your members on the live with you to do some discussion? I'm not sure about that. And I'll tell you why. I did a couple of years ago and last year, I would have members join in. Not members, I would have people who were viewing. And what I found was sometimes some people joined in and they didn't say anything. So I'd be a bit like, why are they even here? You know? There could also be people that came on and sometimes it's very difficult to control the discussion. So like Eddie says, sometimes it's difficult, they're not always good because, it might go certain ways. And sometimes some people have agendas as well, what they want to talk about. Then there's the other problem in that standards. So I can't guarantee that they're going to have a good microphone, a good camera. There may be background noise. And when you take all of that into account, it can dampen the mood of the live chat. So I'm very cautious of doing those now. And I used to get contacted by a lot of people saying, Imran, can you stop doing those? It's like we come on because you're doing the live chat. We're used to you and your personality and the way you behave and the way you talk and the way you do things and your office and all of that. And then when you have other people come on, we're not sure. So I feel like I've got to, because I want you to watch, I've got to kind of respect a lot of what you guys say. Right, everyone, I'm going to jump off now. I really do need to read this and sort some stuff out. Thank you all for being here. Take care. See you all soon. Will I be live tomorrow? Maybe. I don't know. I'll see. And that's the other thing as well, Eddie, you're right. I can react better to the comments. Otherwise, you get caught in discussion and then you lose track of what's going on. And also, I can just be more honest. Because if you're on a live chat and other people are very quiet, I can't be loud. And if, the conversation might go in a direction which I don't really want it to go there, but I have to respect it and go there. So yeah, we'll see, mate. Probably not, but we'll see. All right, take care, everyone. Speak soon.